What's up, America? Y'all know who this is. Dropping it. Black men are the most loved and hated people on the planet. I've had the privilege to travel around the world and can confirm this. In places like Japan, the Philippines, and Australia, black men are adored. These cultures often adopt black culture without being embarrassed. Go to many homes in some of these countries I just mentioned, and you will find much black arts and signs. Also in many of these countries, you will find many of their women eager to date, have sex with, or even marry black men. The same can be said of many other countries in the Far East and even Europe. Most of the pioneer jazz artists cited how they were often treated without prejudice in various countries that they toured in Europe, even though they were subjected to Jim Crow barriers of the United Snakes of America. Miles Davis cited the first time he went to Paris and was able to move around without segregation as being a turning point in his life. I would be lying if I told you I had visited countries that only were nice to us. There's many places like Korea that were rude and sometimes even hostile to black men. The same could be said of some parts of Saudi Arabia and Africa as well. When I talk to some of the people in some of the countries I mentioned earlier, they often would ask me of slavery and the civil rights movement. The people of these countries will often credit us with having the will to survive in light of such obstacles. They mostly respected people like Malcolm X and the Nation of Islam, the Black Panther Party, and Martin Luther King. The courage most of these black people and organizations always astonished many of my friends abroad. I came home feeling good about myself and my people. I guess going abroad gave me another look at myself and my people that instilled in me the self-pride that I still have to this day. The disappointing point of it all is that we who are here in America never research or even come to the same realization that I was blessed with. We have black men and women here in America that have taken on each other as the enemy. When we look at the history, there's tons of stories identifying who the real enemy is to the black man and women here in America. However, we do not bother to wage war against our open enemy. We wage war against each other. Look at the street gangs here in America. More young men have died at the hands of other black men than any other. These same black men are afraid to go into white communities and terrorize them as much as they have done their own. Black men and women don't even have to be around white people to show the fear they have of them. Oftentimes when another black man or woman is having a conversation about whites that may or may not be in the area, they often talk low and are very cautious. Many older black women can tell stories of bill collectors coming over to the house and having to confront them while their husband or boyfriends were hidden somewhere inside. Some black men are afraid to go on interviews for jobs, lacking the confidence to even secure employment. That fear had manifested itself in some of our very thought patterns. This fear has stopped many black men and women from achieving. They often state the white man this or the white man that as the reasons for not being successful, even though there's examples of many blacks being successful despite these elements. These are some of the same fears that Harriet Tubman endured while trying to bring many to freedom. She often had to threaten some people that she was leading through the Underground Railroad to better themselves. What amazes me more is that black men and women fear everyone except each other. In many urban areas, the murder rate is staggering. This due mostly to blacks being killed by other blacks. I sometimes hear black people talk of revolution. If a so-called revolution was to occur, how many of these people who speak of the revolution would take up arms knowing that they would have to kill Whitey? It's so easy for them to take up arms to commit acts against each other, however. We often attack each other without provocation. We often rob each other, even though we are all poor and can often nothing in return. The brave black men are often thought of as radicals and militants. Many of these fears have crystallized the black community and allowed us to produce cowards. Black men have even allowed their women to be raped right in front of them and did nothing, thus producing women that don't value the protection offered by black men. Christianity has also played a part in stripping the black man of courage that he once had prior to coming over here to America. Nat Turner didn't even have the support that he was seeking during his famous slave revolt. For years I've heard black men asking for freedom. If it's freedom or death, how many of us would choose the latter? And on this note, I teach and I don't preach. Peace.